Everybody, so let's talk a little bit about negotiations within the real estate world and how agents do it, and really why it's important for, I think, all customers and consumers and clients to really talk to their agents about how they negotiate and kind of what they're looking for. Because full transparency, I don't have like a one-pager or a couple sentences, hey, this is how I negotiate and this is why. I think every deal in real estate is its own unique situation. And I think if you go in with this is how I'm going to negotiate and I want to be a bully, or hey, I want to be weak and just say yes to everything, I think you can win or lose both ways. And win or lose badly both ways. So for me, it's all about the situation. And first and foremost, right, it's my client situation. And if you're looking for a realtor that's just going to try to go out and screw people over, not meaning my client, but like the opposite side, right? The opposing party. Let's say if I was working with the buyer, the opposing seller, if you're looking for me to screw a seller over and, really try to stick it to them in every which way, I'm not the right person for you. That is not my MO. I'm not here to screw anybody. I'm here to most importantly take care of my clients and make sure they get the best deal I can possibly get them, but do it in an extremely fair and understanding way. And a big reason of that is because of my relationship with other agents, and that ability to other agents want to work with you. And if they have worked with you in the past, they know how easy you are to work with, how much you communicate, how reasonable you are, how you explain the market to your buyers and sellers and set expectations for them, which usually can make deals go smoother. They're more likely to accept my offer in a multiple offer situation. They're more likely to call me and say, hey, Steven, your offer is a little bit lower than the offer they want to accept. But we'd really like to work with you. If you guys can do this, we would take your offer instead. I've gotten those phone calls before. And it's because, again, they're really actually doing it. For one, it's best probably for their client, and they know it's going to be at least likely of a fall through. They know the type of lenders that we work with. They know we vet them, especially our preferred lenders. And knock on wood, right? I don't know how many fall throughs we have every year, but I mean, we're probably talking now at this point, the volume we do, we probably have between, working with bad lenders that just throw pre-approvals at things and bad inspections and, maybe one part or the other is just unreasonable in certain situations. We probably have 30 to 40 contracts fall through, if not more, every year for a variety of reasons. And I would say the majority of them are going to be due to inspection. But that relationship goes a long ways. That relationship, sometimes for me can be a phone call and say, hey, listen, we just got done showing your property. I know you guys have it listed of X. Just wonder kind of where you get that number. We're kind of at this number, right? Is that something your seller's even going to entertain? And, if I have a relationship with them, they're going to be, yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, here's kind of, we kind of know that we're overpriced and we're willing to negotiate, and sometimes they can't give me any information. But that relationship goes a long way and allows me to really have a hand up in negotiating, because I've worked with so many agents and in so many areas and so many price points, knowing what the market's doing, knowing, based on repairs, based on the price point, is this reasonable for us to get done? Yes or no? And a lot of times I'm setting those expectations up front with my clients as either seller or buyers on what type of repairs we can probably get done or should not do or ask for. But I wanted to write a couple just examples of really two contracts recently, and there's probably a zillion examples I could go through. And it's really the difference of my client saving, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in some cases, just based on situations and knowing what to do, and kind of knowing like how we've marketed or how we've prepared for it, or if circumstances change, what we can do to get the best outcome. So one situation had some people buying a home, and we thought it was unrestricted. The seller thought it was unrestricted. Come to find out, there was some pretty heavy restrictions on the deed in the background that really hurt what my people were wanting to do. Now, they still did want to move forward with it, but in doing so, these restrictions really brought the value down. It did. Now, not like a tremendous thing, but it arguably does. I'm not going to go into all the details of it and bore you with it. But knowing that, right, it kind of devalued the property. Is we were paying it, at probably what would be a, it was really probably a win-win for the buyer and a win-win for the seller. It was a fair price, right? My people weren't just ripping someone off of a house, and the seller just wasn't, they weren't getting probably the most that they could get out of it. So to me, it was a fair deal. Well, and these come about. I talked to my people and I was like, hey, this being said, right, we have room to negotiate, to renegotiate the terms because of this, right? Because we know they're not going to get now what we're paying for it. And so we talked about it, and they're like, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it had older HVACs, if we can, and we had 2 HVACs, if we can get both of those replaced as a part of the deal, we will be good to move forward. I said, okay, I think that was reasonable, a reasonable ask. But I kind of thought we could get a little bit more than that. And so I actually ended up really negotiating in total. I think it was about $27,000 down from what it was, which also includes 2 new HVACs, but an additional, it's about $11,000 more than what the HVACs were going to run. And the seller accepted it, right? And so knowing that, my people would have been fine with, let's just call it $16,000, which is about what those HVACs cost. 2 of them. They would have been fine with that. Getting them in another $11,000. I'm sure was awesome for them to hear that, and they were much appreciative of it. And of course, as buyers, they, I had the seller pay my fee, so they didn't pay me anything. But I did sell their home previously, and my commission was not. And when I sold their home, it was not the extra $11,000. It was less than that. So essentially, by being able to understand the market, understand how to negotiate this in that particular situation, I literally made them back the commission and some than what they paid me when I sold their home. And of course, we didn't charge them any extra fees. We just got paid what the seller was paying us in this deal, or what we negotiated in the deal for the seller to pay. I should say that, clarify that, based on these new rules. And then another one, so we listed the house. We know we listed the house high. We listed a house at probably what it would be worth with some repairs done, but these repairs were not done. But we just want to kind of test the market. And sure enough, house had no activity. And then after, it was like right at almost like maybe 5-6 days on the market, we got 1 showing on it. Well, we got 1 showing on it, and sure enough, they actually liked it, which is awesome. We were super thrilled that they liked it. We're going to put an offer in. And the agent, she was great to work with, great community, called me, Stephen, hey, listen, it's going to be a low offer. I said, hey, this presented something. My sellers are extremely motivated. I'd already talked numbers with my sellers. We knew kind of where we were expecting to be at for a contract to go through based on, credits and repairs and purchase price and all that. And we knew it was significantly lower than what we were priced at. We just wanted to kind of see, it's kind of a unique house in a way, to see if, there was anybody who's going to kind of take it at the higher price point. So we got an offer, and it was low, but really it was within. When I talked to the seller, I was like, hey, I got good bad news. Good news is we got an offer. Bad news is, it's definitely low, but it was still really within the range that we knew the seller that we had talked about, and she was willing to kind of accept from a walkaway standpoint. And she's like, Steven, let's just do it. I'm done. This gets me to where, you kind of told me where we would probably wind up. Instead of wasting time and money and energy and on market and no showings, when I had no activity, and doing pricing and maybe not getting a good deal, and maybe somebody try to hit us for repairs. These people are saying, hey, we'll take it as is, no repairs for this price. She's like, let's do it. I said, okay, great. But what I didn't tell her, well, actually, I kind of told her in passing. I said, hey, let me go back. I want to try something. I'm just going to go back to them verbally and just see if we can't get something done here. And she's like, hey, listen, I don't want you to kill the deal. I was like, just trust me, I'm not going to kill the deal here. Let me just kind of go back. Because when they presented the offer, they said, hey, this is all we're willing to do. And again, there's negotiation tactics, right? So I understand that, and I've made offers and said that, but then we're willing to move a little bit more. Usually it's always the case. And then sometimes it's a hard no, right? Hey, listen, we're not willing to move anymore. It is what it is. So went over to the agent and presented a scenario. Said, hey, listen, understand, thanks so much for the offer. Here's kind of where we're at. Do you think your people would make this work? And I mean, let me call them. And then with 5 minutes later, calling back, said they'll take it. So I ended up actually negotiating in about $7,500 more, in basically with the seller's walkaway from the previous deal. And I think my commission on the deal is, I think it's going to be like $9,000. And so to get $7,500 back, when I called the seller, she was ecstatic. I kind of laugh. I say, hey, well, basically for you, that means my commission is only $1,500, right? Because you weren't expecting this ever at $7,500. So this essentially, paid for what you were paying me to do. So there's me kind of earning my job, or earning my keep, right? And I think it's important, right? Because I do think, in real estate, like full transparency, there are deals that realtors are going to do in their lifespan where it's like, wow, I really did not do the work within this deal to probably earn this money. However, there's a lot of times where, and it's like some of the small and annoying ones, where I do a whole heck of a lot of work that arguably pans out to be not a whole lot of money, and not really arguably on paper worth my time, but it all evens out. I'm a big believer. It all evens out, and I'm not ultimately here to worry about how much and look at it. It's just, you see the numbers, you know how much time, energy, and effort you put into it, and, especially if you got bad lenders and you got bad people on the other side, another agent doesn't respond, people that are unreasonable, right? There's a lot of this crazy stuff you do in a contract to get something to close. All the phone calls, all the showings beforehand, that you gotta really come to think of. So I wanted to kind of do this, and there's ways to negotiate. And then, I'm always looking to, my fees are always very transparent up front before you sign anything. You know what it is. We don't have nothing hidden, cancel any time. We always, advertise this as much as we can, legally. Can't really say, I guess, the number, because that's frowned upon and supposed to be against the rules now. But, if you work with me, right? And nobody's ever got hit with nothing hidden. And odds are I've been able to negotiate, and help you save a lot, if not more, than what I actually got paid, or maybe you got over asking price, stuff like that. And that's kind of the I don't say it's not a goal like I have written down and I'm like consciously thinking about. But the last thing what I want to do is help somebody in real estate and then they walk away and be like, well, I paid him way too much. Well, you got to think too, the experience, as I mentioned, the areas, the price points, the negotiations, knowing the vendors, right? As I mentioned, 2 new HVACs, replace those for like $16,000. That's knowing a good HVAC person. A lot of times, if you were to call these people off the billboard, you're probably talking $24,000, right? So you get access to our vendors that, I'm not going to stick my neck out for them, but for the most part, they've done great work. We know they're plenty affordable. That's a big thing for me, is they're not out here price gouging and screwing people over, which is huge for me. And so, whereas otherwise this could have been huge, or maybe, somebody goes out and says, oh no, you need to replace all this and it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars. And when realistically we know, or that you don't need to do that. And there's a cheaper, better, easier way, to do that when problems come up, and how to do this and how to negotiate money. And hey, I want credits, but we can't show credits. We can't get money back because of the lender situation. Like, how do you maneuver all that? How do you bring all that in and make it a contract without killing the deal? We even had one, as I mentioned, the one on the HVAC, right? We got them like $27,000 extra off. This comes from experience. And by experience means I messed it up the first time. So now I know not to mess it up. We got a termite letter. Termite said, hey, listen, no, it was a VA loan. Said, no termites. We do not recommend any repairs. However, here is a picture of an old termite tube, and noted dead termites, with photos attached. And it just said, see the information. But again, it specifically said, do not recommend repairs. No repairs needed. However, I have been in that situation, and we have sent that we sent it to the lender. Lender sent it to the underwriter. Underwriters came back and then required, some sort of crazy treatment, or if there's signs of previous termite damage. Underwriter has required structural engineer to go out to verify no structural issues, all that, which again costs time, money, energy, and effort. I've seen all this. So I was able to prevent this. Plus, they wanted to close before Thanksgiving. And if we would have done that, that would have definitely delayed the Thanksgiving. So again, save them days and times, and just energy, effort, all that, because of experience. I'm not saying any agent with less experience can't be better. That's wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But experience does help, and it helps prevent situations, helps prevent fires. And then if there is a small flame that does come up in a real estate deal, which they do all the time, tons of small flames, we usually put them out before they ever develop into anything that's even an issue. But wanted to share that. As always, guys, if you have questions, feel free to holler anytime. See ya.